action.
Need some light first. So we're going over his parts, and he's making comments off screen. Some are nasty somewhere. There's a bearing. Doesn't look like it has a ton of wear on it. Some cheap individuals like me would probably reuse that.
Well, then let's reuse it.
We're making comments about how nasty these bolts are, studs, all the crud all over them. It's all the water damage, I would call that. There's rust and buildup on everything. So we could clean that or just leave it.
Take some Scotch-Brite to it.
No, I have a bee blaster. I just blast it. Okay, so is this thing loose? So if you feel a gap between the surfaces, like I can kind of feel, that's not good. See over here it's fairly smooth. Over here you got more of a lip.
Yeah.
They didn't machine it that way. It was machined flat.
So it's moved.
It's moved a little bit. Oil coming out. If you really want to know, you heat the cage at about 350 degrees and you'll see if it's loose or not. But
You'll be able to move it fairly easy, if it is loose, obviously.
That hole got kind of screwed up there. When you start seeing screw issues here and the alternators come loose all the time, that's because the screws are being cut off by the insert in here. The insert actually has the fingers that stick out on the inside, and they'll cut the screws off. They go back and forth and cut the screws and the heads on the back inside.
Just shear them.
Yeah, shears them off in there and it screws up the threads and they come out. So whenever you see a lot of alternator issues or a lot of real bad holes like this where they're all rounded out, you're going to start looking at, okay, what's wrong with this thing? Why is it doing this? So yours seems to be holding the position it's in. It's not really changing.
How does it move?
Yeah, see it's still smooth on this side and a little bit on the down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down only like
A
probably
thou.
3 or 4 thou there. It's the only difference you get. But so at some point it has moved, but you know, it's not like it's really loose.
So it's acceptable.
It is what it is, yeah. It's good to go for another motor overhaul. Until it's not. It'll let you know what not is. So now the fun part is cleaning. Try not to get your fingers in front of the scraper unless you want to bleed. It's hard to get behind the backside to get the gasket out of there.
You turn the chisel sideways.
It doesn't work too good.
Starts digging in.
Yeah, it doesn't work too good. Start using other things to get in there. If you're lucky, it just pops off. But in your case, you don't want to. A little sealer on there too. See a lot of that sealer.
Ah.
Yeah, grab it. Show the camera.
I don't know if we can zoom in.
You're trying to scrape it off, and
Can't autofocus.
all you're doing is pushing it side to side. Because it was not, it wasn't a hard thing, it was soft. So, yeah, you got a nice nose pump, don't you? Yeah, it's got the upgraded hole in here for blowing oil through. Just trying to make sure that was going all the way through. Should be a hole on the inside here if it does. right here. The holes in the top of the stud. That's the new hole. Because on a new pump, you have a bleed off hole right here. The old pumps didn't have that. They had a big hole inside the breather, blew, dumped the oil into the breather. A little different how they do stuff. Alright, we got that clean. These all look pretty good. This one here, they did a number of your cases up on top here. We're going to remachine these flat again, or are we leaving them?
Yeah, I'd say let's machine them, right? It'd be a better seal with.
I have very doubt that these are very flat at all.
Yeah, definitely want to get a good seal when we put it all back together.
Yeah, I would guess they're probably pretty bad. And this is some kind of hard seal we used here. That kind of flex off.
Yeah, all crusty.
Which actually makes it a little easier to clean out because it dissipates pretty quickly. If I was blasting these cases, this would come off real quick. So you get all this crap out of here. There's a groove in here between the two case halves. There's actually a groove right in here, and that's where the seal goes. It makes like an O-ring in there when you put seal on. And that's only when these big twin cases have that. All the other ones, they just have the flat surface and seal goes between those. This costs way more money to have this working surface like this. So they don't do that on all the other bikes. If the motor was designed in the 30s, we have that. If it was designed in the 50s, it doesn't have that.
Really?
Yep. Or at least after war, post-war. 40s. Because the later motors take a few years to get through all the development, so. Probably got some new engineers for war. Harley likes one of the cheap engineers. They get them right out of school and they think they know everything. Find out they don't know shit. So it takes them a few years to work all the bugs out of the motors and the rest of the bike. Alright. That's enough for a new sealer to work on. That's some heavy buildup in there.
Oh yeah.
Got a little carried away, they used half a tube right there. This isn't the best tool for this. This tool works better. I don't know why my knife's always dull. This doesn't seem to live very long for some reason. I don't know why. It always seems to be dull. What's that all about?
I'm not sure they plugged something.
Yep. Well, somebody did boo-boo, do you? I bet you it's an old gallery. They probably drilled a case for a new, the updated design with a new pump, and they probably got a little carried away in the drilling. There's a depth that goes along with that diameter. Probably overshot it. Alright, what fun. All this cleaning. Important step though. Two things happen. One is you investigate to see what's wrong with everything because you're doing it. You're up close and intimate with it. And two is it has to be done anyway. See, if I didn't clean it, I wouldn't know the gasket surface was really screwed up. Come by after the fact like now, look it over. Do my inspection right now, I go, oh, it's all screwed up. In case you couldn't tell. That one went over there somewhere. Alright. Now that's for this. And there you go. It's a left case, not a right case. See? It's right where that hole is. Geez, I wonder what happened. Yeah, that's probably a little too deep. They might have an oil leak. That's one thing about heater coils, they leak a lot of oil past them. Looks like it's in there sideways too.
A little tweak, yeah, I see that.
See the heater coil, looks like there's a gap on the case right in here where the threads are supposed to be. So it looks like they put it at an angle. Did you do that?
No.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay. You didn't blow your case out very well, feel the oil coming out. I told you to blow out all the holes.
I guess
It's bleeding.
I'm not good at blowing holes.
Nope, you're fired. You failed the only test I gave you to do. Well, we've got to limit your activities to just being camera guy now.
Just press record and stop.
Yep. I can't do that myself. Too much work. Alright, so what did they do to that heater coil? Okay, so they would thread it all the way down, and they only went about halfway with the heater coil. So if you look in there really, really close, you can see how the heater coil's only about halfway down, yet it's threaded all the way in. So they didn't put long heater coils in there, they put short heater coils, but they drilled and tapped it full down. There's a special tool that goes in and grabs the hole and you can kind of screw it with.
Mm-hmm. And then you snap off the little end.
You got one of those?
No.
Oh. I don't have one right here, it's behind you. So we're going to use the old way of doing it. So you go out with a pair of dies, you grab a hold of that sucker like that, you start unscrewing. And when the hole is really screwed up, it comes out real easy. There you go. See, not very deep. But that hole goes in there almost an inch. So the reason those threads didn't look too good on top, because there is no threads on top. See, the first thread and a half are gone. See that?
Yeah. Wow.
And the other ones that are in there don't look very good. So it looks like they over tightened the heater coil and stripped out the top couple threads. They probably had 2 threads in the bolt even in there. Improper heater coil. You might have to do something about that. See the rub marks over here?
No, I didn't.
Not good. That's the crank pin. So we got little rubbage marks right here. So why are we rubbing? The crank pin is not supposed to be this close to the case. See even a little bit right there too. So if this Timken bearing wasn't tight, or the sprocket here, the shaft could go down deeper, the crank, go down until it started hitting in here. That might be what happened. Or they got an extra long crank pin in there. Or something. Because that's been rubbed in there, it's not ground. Something's going in a circle like that made that.
Yeah. Scored all the way around.
Yeah. It also has a late style Evo bearing in it instead of a good one. So that's a cage bearing instead of full complement where it's got rollers all the way in there. So this is not the good bearing. Are we keeping it?
So what is this not good bearing prone to?
Fail.
Okay, then let's go with the right bearing so that we eliminate
The failure
the
point?
failure point. Yep.
The failure point will be less of a chance.
Mitigate the risk.
Risk management. You could probably get away with something like that. Okay, so we got to spot face these motor mounts flat. These holes in here wouldn't hurt to be spotted off. You get these old motors, these things are not very flat. You can see the lips in there. So spot face all this stuff off. We got to fix that. Got to take that out. You get a removal tool?
Do I have it? No.
Another big weld right here.
Yeah, we repaired something.
Yeah. It's not on the outside. My guess is
Probably blew
this
that hole out.
got broken out somehow. Boy, being a dumbass, I don't know how you would ever break that out. It'd have to be a part like this and put a screw and a knock on it or something. Who knows? It's hard to tell. So you got the gasket sealer in all the holes.
Yeah, that has come out.
They probably use that same goop that was inside between the case halves up here. Plugs up holes. So these all got to be blown out and made sure they go all the way through. There's your breather, extra breathing hole in there. All looks fairly good other than that. That's at an angle. Okay, I'm going to do some prayer work way back.